Hello beautiful people of the internet. A little while back I went to Hasselt with one of my best friends and she took me to a place called the Serre, which translates in English to the Conservatory or Conservatory. Sometimes it's difficult to pronounce English words. But basically what that is it's a big hall that used to be the city hall actually, and they transformed it into some sort of little cafe kind of situation. The fun thing about it is that everywhere you look there's plants. So that's why it's also called the Conservatory, because while you drink or make your homework or whatever it is you're doing, you are surrounded by plants everywhere and it's the coolest thing ever. But there was also a little corner where you can adopt a plant, and that's actually what I want to talk about today, because I adopted a plant. Basically, when people can't take care of their own plants anymore, or when they move and there's no room for them anymore, or whatever it is, you can basically just donate your plants there. Now, what they do is, or they will take care of it for you, and then when it's a healthy plant again, you can come and pick it up again. Or if you really want to get rid of it and you don't want it anymore, other people can adopt it. And like I said, I adopted one of those plants. There was a beautiful, beautiful plant that caught my eye, and I just really loved how unique it looked. So after thinking for it a long time and after looking at it multiple times, I decided to just adopt it. So I bought it and I brought it home with me. Now, this poor plant has been through a lot. First of all, I had to take it from Hasselt all the way home, which made him lose a few of his twigs and a few of his leaves. I thought that that had to do with the fact that I traveled so long, and because I also had to do a big part of that by bike, which is not the best way to transport a plant. I discovered that it was a jade plant or a money tree, first of all, because I kind of bought the plant and I didn't know what it was. Now, I'm not gonna say that I'm a plant mom or that I know a lot about plants, because I don't, but I did do some research on this one and I discovered a lot of things that were not okay with it. First of all, the ground was moist. This is a plant that really needs to be watered like once every 2 weeks or so. It is a plant that really doesn't need a lot of care, because from the moment that the soil is too wet or too moist, your plant could die. It could literally drown. This plant, I haven't watered it for over 2 weeks and the soil was still very moist, which is not okay. Second of all, it kept losing its leaves. Now again, this is like a plant that doesn't take up a lot of effort. I think it even belongs in the family of the succulents, which, if you know anything about plants, means that, again, you don't need to water it a lot. And because I looked it up, it turns out that the plant can lose its leaves, its thick aloe vera-like leaves, when it's watered too much. So it kept losing its leaves without me touching it or doing anything about it, which is very concerning to me. And then thirdly is that it had all kinds of little flies in the soil as well. So at some point I noticed that there were flies everywhere. In other words, the previous owner of the plant did not take good care of it at all. So again, like I said, I did some research and I tried to figure out a way that I can take care of my beautiful Plant Boii, because I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. So that's why I rather spontaneously decided to repot it, so put it in a different pot, give it complete new soil and just take good care of it, because it's such a beautiful plant. It's such a pretty boy. At some point, one part of the plant just also fell out of the pot. It just became too heavy and it wasn't planted deep enough, so it just came loose. But because I'm not that organized and because I decided rather late and rather spontaneously to take care of the plant that day, I didn't really film a before look. So I do have some footage of what it was supposed to look like, but because part of the plant or part of the tree already had fallen out of the pot, it doesn't really give an accurate representation of what it looked like. Now, what I did to take care of the plant was, first of all, I got rid of the soil it was in, because if it were to stay in there a lot longer, I'm pretty sure that the roots would have started rotting as well, and that's very bad for your plant, because then your plant can die. So I just took it out. I tried to take away as much of the soil around the roots as I could, but at some point some of the roots really started breaking, so I left a rather big clump of it because I just didn't want all of the roots to just get cut off or broken off. I put that one in a little bit of water. Now, I know that I'm not supposed to give it a lot of water, but I was a bit scared that they would completely dry out and that it would completely die. So I did put a little bit of water into a bucket, just temporarily. What I did then was I got rid of the rest of the soil that was into that pot, and I also got rid of the pot that the plant was in at first. Luckily, my mom's boyfriend really likes to garden, so we have a lot of plants and a lot of pots and a lot of soil that I could just use. So I started with a plastic one. I wanted a plastic one with holes at the bottom. When you have little holes in your pots, all of the excess water can just get out, firstly. And secondly, that way there's also a bit more room for the roots to get air as well, because apparently the roots need to be able to get some oxygen as well for your plant to grow really well. That's something my mom's boyfriend told me because I didn't know that. And then I found a pot to go around that, and that is the pot that I actually want to kind of change in the future. For now, it's a good one just because I now have something to keep my Plant Boii in. But in the future, I think I'm gonna go for a more earthwork kind of pot, like a more ceramic pot, because the one that I have now is a weird metal of some sorts, and I'm not sure if it's the ideal pot to keep my Plant Boii in, but it's good for the time being. Because they had been in the shed for a long time, the first thing I did was make sure that everything was clean. So both the black pot and also the metal pot, I just made sure that they were completely cleaned out with water. I didn't use anything else, just to have a clean pot to put my Plant Boii in.
Ben je dat nu aan het filmen?
Ja. Je weet toch dat Serre vlogt en YouTube en wat is het allemaal?
Beautiful people of the internet.
Oh nee.
Hello.
Ja, je weet wat ik dat erin ga laten, hè?
Ja, maar ik heb ervoor gezorgd, je ziet alleen mijn ogen, je ziet niet heel mijn kop.
What I did then was take the black pot and filled it with a little bit of soil at the bottom at first. Now apparently this is also a very easy plant, not just to take care of, but also to grow, because if one of the twigs were to fall off, you can just basically put it in the soil again and it will start growing roots. And then you have like a new jade plant that you can grow. So with that in mind, I tried putting them a bit deeper in. So it looks a lot smaller now, but I'm sure that it's a lot more healthier because now it also has a lot more space to grow. The soil I used was normal organic soil that my mom used for her garden. Now, I know that ideally I should have searched for cactus soil, like very dry soil, but the thing is that I don't want to get an entire bag of soil just for one little plant either. And online it also said that even normal soil should be okay, but because that soil is a bit more moist out of its own, it's good to not give the plant water for the first 2 weeks that it is in the new soil, just so that it can adjust, get a bit drier on its own. So with that in mind, I did take the normal soil instead of the cactus soil, but I think it's quite okay. The sad thing is that during the process it lost a lot of other leaves as well, but I tried my best to make it as good as I can and to really make sure that it has a lot of room to grow again and just to look very pretty, because I do think it's a very pretty Plant Boii. And that's basically all I did. It really didn't take that long. Like I said before, I'm not gonna give it water for the first 2 weeks that it is in the new soil because I don't want to drown it again. And now that I changed the soil completely, that also made sure that all of the little flies that were in the soil are completely exterminated as well now. When I was done with all that, I also took away some of the little leaves and twigs. The thing is, because it had been growing very flat, some little leaves and twigs have started growing up, but I was a bit afraid that it would make my plant grow in all directions. And because I do still have a very small room, I would like to control it a tiny little bit. So I did take away some of the little growing leaves and some of the little growing twigs, just because I think it's gonna look a lot better that way, but also I think it's gonna be better for the plant because that way it has a bit more room to actually grow in. So what I did then was pick up the little plant from where I've been working on it and I put it back in my room where I think it would be very, very happy. So now that's in my room, I also added the little plant friend that one of my friends made for me, just as a little decoration. I thought it looked very cute. And I also took the little twigs that I previously snapped off of the branches and put them in the soil to see if they actually grow like the lady in the plant store told me. Because if they do, that would be really, really cool. And then I'd have more pretty Plant Boiis to take care of. I feel like such a plant mom right now and I'm so happy about that. So because I'm an idiot and also because I rather spontaneously decided to finally take care of the plant, I did not film how it looked like before, but I am going to show you what my pretty Plant Boii looks like today. Here he is! Look at him! Oh, he's so beautiful! As you can see, he's doing really, really well. The soil already feels a lot drier than the other soil was that he was originally in, and I feel like he's still growing really well. I don't know if you can see it from this far, but even here he still has like little leaves and twigs that are starting to grow, so he's doing really, really well, and I'm just super, super happy that I got to save my Plant Boii. Now, I do have to say it's only been a day since I replanted him, so I hope that I did a great job, but from the looks of it, he's doing really well. Also, the fact that I don't have to take so much care of it is really, really nice. And the only thing that I have to do now is just spritz a little bit of water on the leaves, because apparently this is a plant that likes to absorb water through its leaves rather than through the roots. And yeah, just make sure to not water it too much because I don't want to drown my pretty plant boy. So this is how I saved my plant basically, and how I took care of it. And I am just really happy that he's still alive. He's so beautiful. I love him so much. Now, for now, I still call him my pretty plant boy, and I refer to him as my plant boy all of the time. So if you know a good name for this plant, feel free to comment it below. I will probably also do an Instagram poll very soon, so feel free to follow me on Instagram as well if you want to, and then you can participate in what names you would like my plant boy to be called from now on. But I'm just really happy that I got to finally take care of him. I hope he will do really well. I hope he will grow really strong. So yeah, that was my adventure taking care of my pretty plant boy. A bit different from the content I usually make, but I thought it was still lifestyle enough to put it on my channel as well. So there you have it. Advice from a noob plant mom to maybe other noob plant moms who want to take care of a jade plant or money tree. So there you go. So yeah, a bit different like I said, but I do hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again very soon. Bye!